Well, and what we love about Polidomes is we get those really, really crazy inquiries very, very often. None of those big projects actually come to life. So it was just a regular, everyday office job for me. I remember in this particular project, there were a lot of options that the customer was taking under the consideration. But at the end, you never know what's going to be the decision. When they came back, I got a little bit surprised because I kind of remind myself that it's just going to be a pretty big dome. Well, it didn't come from nowhere. We have been in the market so many years. I always say that I have been doing domes all my grown-up life. It's more organic now. It's not like, we just started to do the domes and this big project came up. It's like a continuation of what we have been doing for the last, well, let me count. I always count with my daughter's age. So she's 19, 17 years. I think the biggest trigger for all the customers to make decisions to sign the contract with us, it's actually our authenticity, the way we are. We don't pretend. We are just very passionate about what we do. We have a very good reputation in the market. We are always kind of very much emotionally attached to the projects. Well, people call me a godmother of the Polidomes, at least.
For sure, it was the biggest project in terms of the size, the logistics. Just because of that, it was like 150 tons of steel, plenty of trucks just to deliver it to the site, so it was really big scale. And it was fun to manage such a thing. For me, the main job was done in the beginning of a project. We had to prepare work breakdown structure to define items which need to be included in the project, starting from the product itself, through the resources we had to secure for the project, internal, external, subcontractors, paperwork, documentary and everything had to be defined there. I think we did it well and we had a very good picture of the task. Based on that, we were able to prepare good scheduling and get a control over the project.
In order to deliver all the necessary materials, we had to use 23 truck transits, which consisted of 160 tons of steel and 20 tons of material for dome cover.
Pierwszy montaż był dla nas duży, bo większy model, to jest jakaś niepewność, że może coś pójść nie tak, albo na fazie projektowania coś poszło nie tak, ale po zbudowaniu pierwszego danego rozmiaru, już człowiek się przyzwyczaja, już wie, z czym ma do czynienia i jest łatwiej. Największym naszym wrogiem w tym projekcie był czas. Co wiązało się z tym, że mieliśmy mały margines na popełnianie błędów, więc musieliśmy się skupić żeby projekt był idealny. Po projekcie przeszliśmy do etapu produkcyjnego. Nadzór nad produkcją też był istotny. Wszystko było obciążone wysoką presją czasu.
In our industry, in what we do, time is the number one factor. So, it's something that cannot be stretched. Whole event depends on the structure.
In this case, we had 4 months of design work, 3 months of production, and 2 months of assembly. These processes overlapped because we had to finish GigaDome in 6 months. And it sounded like not enough.
there was rather no situation when all the people were working about the one subject. We were working parallelly on several scopes. There was a team working on the ground with one thing. There were a team on the boom lifts, installing another elements, and at the same time there was people working from the roof. So these 50 people were spread along the construction yard, and perhaps you will not spot them at the one time, at any time during the assembly, you know.
By joining forces, including design team of course, all these crews completed a structure spanning 72 meters in diameter with a 4,000 square meter footprint, securing its place as Europe's largest dome by today.
So first of all, the dome, and this is what I can know by the fact because of my history and my experience, it's not for everyone. It's for those special kinds of people who are very much open-minded, who like something that is completely different. You know, the domes are working as a magnet. First of all, the shape, obviously, it's still a dome, but you know, you always want to be better, bigger. So I think this could be an amazing venue to make a dining experience, let's say around Boeing or any other airplane. It could be great for the, let's say, a fashion catwalk. So I think there are plenty of the functions and uses of this dome. So I'm just cannot wait to see where is gonna be the next stop for this GigaDome.
As you can see, the structures is actually placed in the middle of the existing building. You can see in the windows in here. That's why the size of the GigaDome, it's not just a size, some size. It's a particular spot that we had to cover because it's a historical building that is already here. That's why the diameter of it is 72 meters. Once you want to build a dome of this size, and we can of course do it bigger, the structure is a little bit different than the standard domes that we have in our offer. As you can see, there are hubs in between struts, the steel framework. The reason for that is that the struts become so big and so long that it's very difficult to set them up with the human hands. The resistance of it changes a little bit. That's why regular structures with one single hole that connects all the struts in one hole would not be a case in this solution. So that's why we have hubs, which are 3D cuts. That's also a very big help during the setup. It also comes with the double parametric structure, and the reason for that is that we had to do some kind of adjustments to make the whole structure waterproof and connected, as I've said, to the existing building. The structure is painted into the black. It was a request from the customer. It's also covered with just a fabric that is a little bit mapped, but that was not the main intention. The main intention of the extra layer fabrication is actually the condensation issue, that it's a huge problem, especially when you have to heat it up. There's a condensation issue that goes in the very upper part of the dome. So this fabrication is a solution for it. The customer decided just to make some simple projection just to cover a very plain black fabrication. Planning stage, we were supposed to cover the whole structure, but the customer decided to leave it open. And thanks to this, we can actually see in the inside that it's a geodesic structure, because once we would cover it all, nobody would actually be even a witness that it's still inside Giga geodesic dome tent. Another challenge is that if you don't have a very free nature wide space to set up the dome, you have to kind of adjust the structure and also the whole setup process with the existing, let's say, challenges or existing limits. One of those was this tower, and because it's a historical tower and it's existing here, we cannot kind of move it around. The whole setup process had to be designed and planned ahead with this being inside. We are very much delighted and happy and satisfied with the final effect. especially that from what we know, it's probably the biggest GigaDome there is in Europe, at least in Europe. I think it's the reason why we made it so successful in such a short period of time. It's actually the final effect of the whole experience that we have as a company, as a manufacturer. We have spent almost 18 years so far just focusing to come to this point and be able to set it up in such a short notice. Now we just know it's just the beginning, and we are still asking ourselves what's the biggest dome we can bring to life and what's gonna be the biggest challenge that's gonna face us in the future. So we are waiting for the next challenges to come, basically, and we hope it's going to be bigger, more advanced, and more ambition than this one. But yeah, very much and completely satisfied as being godmother of the domes, being happy and satisfied with my team and the final effect.
So I think it's not only pushing ourselves boundaries, but pushing the boundaries of the markets and just checking how far can we go.